It's 8:40. Jeff Gordon with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch Sports Department is here in studio. Good morning, Jeff Gordon.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Let's dive into this steroid scandal coming out of Miami. Yesterday we get word that Major League Baseball cut a deal with this bad guy, this guy who I guess was in charge of this clinic, and that he's going to tell all. Do we know all 20 of these Major League players, and is it more than 20?
Could be more than 20. There have been 20 names listed. Probably the biggest name besides A-Rod and Ryan Braun was Nelson Cruz of the Rangers.
Right.
Some guys like Bartolo Colon trying to stay in the league. Poor Melky Cabrera, who's already done his time. There were a couple of the other names that popped up on there. But, yeah, this is a blockbuster. The agents of the players are already positioning the attack on Tony Bosch, who is a little murky. A little suspect as a character, so he's going to get the same sort of treatment that we saw, in the Brian McNamee situation with Roger Clemens.
Who is this guy, and where does he come from? Is this guy a mad scientist?
He's not a real doctor. He's sort of a
he's like Dr. Ron.
Yeah, he's a strip mall proprietor who's this biogenesis, it's a rejuvenation clinic, which is another way of saying they distribute drugs illegally to people.
All right, so let's take Ryan Braun here because his name was linked to steroids, failed the test, then was reinstated. Now his name is now linked once again. What's the story with this Ryan Braun?
Well, the Braun's trouble is that after he won his appeal, because the courier who had his urine put it in the fridge next to the lemonade and the plum juice and whatnot, kept it there and then mailed it when Monday rolled along. That attack on the courier and his strident insistence that he was innocent and that there was a terrible misunderstanding and that somebody was out to get him. Well, all of that rings pretty hollow now that there's a lot of evidence, both written and now with what Bosch is saying, that he was a customer of this clinic.
And so this guy who cut a deal with Major League Baseball, explain this deal to me. Why does Major League Baseball want to cut a deal with this guy?
Well,
and why does this guy want to cut a deal with Major League Baseball?
Well, I mean, MLB, it's a interesting scenario. You get the feds on this guy's case. The feds lean all over this guy. He's facing criminal charges. And then you say, well, we'll go to the feds now and tell them to go easy on you. We would recommend they go easy on you if you're cooperative in helping us clean up our industry. So basically you're using the government to lean on the guy, and then you're using the promise of backing the government off to get him to play ball, because this guy could end up going to jail.
It sounds like it's a Charles Comiskey 1919 Black Sox scandal all again. The feds will handle this. Baseball will handle this.
It's going to be dicey because this guy's going to give a lot of information, and then the lawyers are going to try to tear into him because, again, he's a murky character. But what motivation does he have to lie and make it all up? Not much. What motivation does he have to tell baseball what it wants to hear right now? Plenty.
All right, let's take baseball here on this story, because baseball, can we praise baseball for wanting to get to the bottom of this?
I think it's part of definitely a stepped-up effort to clean up the game. It's very hard to keep it completely clear and clean. A lot of the stuff players are using now is a quick hit,
right?
And it gets through your system real fast. It's hard to catch. There's the cycling, the steroids, the old-fashioned needles. So the science is more sophisticated than ever. Baseball will always be playing catch-up. But you have to say baseball's trying. They're not just going after the minor guys. When you're going after a Ryan Braun,
right?
You're showing that's a pretty strong signal to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't like baseball's trying to sweep this under the rug. They're cutting a deal with this guy to get as much information out as possible. So you have to give him credit for that.
And I think once Braun got around his punishment and then made a big deal about how he was innocent, baseball redoubled its effort to get him. Sort of like the prosecutors trying to get Barry Bonds.
Right.
Because they know he was lying, but Barry was too shifty. He didn't lie so directly that they could nail him on a perjury charge. He was just sort of murky in his answers.
And his druggist went to jail as opposed to singing like this guy.
Yeah, and his agent took the time, or his trainer just did hard time. Just would not talk.
Anderson,
yeah.
All right, now let's talk about A-Rod, because there's a story in the Daily News today that says that this chemist, or this whoever he is, went to A-Rod to try and cut a deal with A-Rod before cutting a deal with Major League Baseball.
Yeah, again, murky character, strip mall proprietor, tries to brush it all, tries to get A-Rod to play along. At this point, Alex Rodriguez, everybody hates him. He's washed up. Who knows if he'll play again? His image is permanently tarnished. This is just one more thing for Alex. Yeah, it's not worth my $200,000 to make this go away. I'm already hated by everybody. So
I'll give you $200,000. You don't say anything,
right.
but now he stands to lose millions more if he's suspended and or found guilty with this.
The Yankees would very much love to void his contract. Whether the Yankees can ever get there, we'll see. But a lot of people suspect that A-Rod will never play again. His joints are shot, and doing these steroids, he can tear up your, like I say, his hip joints and so forth. I don't know. I don't know that he ever gets back.
All right, which leads the question, you sort of alluded to it there. How much steroid use did he have? Because that's what they say the long-term effects are, right? Your body falls apart, as opposed to a slow fade on the downward side of your career. A-Rod just fell apart.
Yeah, he did, and it does speak to his sudden total physical collapse is sort of a cautionary tale for everybody who's juicing. He said his juicing was limited in his admission.
Right.
We're guessing maybe he understated how much he was doing.
Where does this go now? If you're found guilty in baseball's steroid banning system, it's the first offense is 50 games, second offense is 100 games, or whatever it is.
Right.
Are they going to be found guilty by this guy's testimony to Major League Baseball? Does that count as being considered guilty?
Well, they need to get corroboration as much as possible because, again, this guy's going to get the McNamee treatment. They're going to try to undermine his credibility, and then the players could sue. So this could be the linchpin of a deal that gets both Braun and A-Rod 100 games. They're going to argue on Ryan Braun is that this is actually your second time you're guilty. You lied about. We caught you last time and you lied about it. Because you're not truthful, we're gonna nail you for 100. His lawyers are lining up, but we'll see how it goes.
And also, then you throw into the fact that A-Rod still owed 60 some odd million ridiculous dollars left on a contract. He might never play, so you can make the argument, hey, they're going after me, so they don't have to pay me.
Yeah, his people will have to work very hard to make sure that he continues to collect all that money for not playing. And I did a link on my tip sheet to a Sports Pickle fictitious news story that said that Major League Baseball's best punishment for A-Rod would be to make him play. That other AL East teams were begging baseball, put him back out there. We love pitching to him.
Well, and force the Yankees to pay him.
Exactly.
Force him to meet the fans every day. Holy mackerel, this thing is all right. But the Cardinals and Cardinal players are nowhere near this scandal.
Correct. Nothing on that report is of concern to a franchise that was in the middle of that earlier stuff with, of course, McGuire and so forth.
Right. And are there any more names to come out more than this 20 or any info on that?
There's some suggestion that this guy is going to go crazy. And, he said there were 20. It could be a bigger number. Largely Latin American players who've had that connection to the Miami clinic. But Braun played college baseball down there, and that was his connection. So look for Latin American guys and also people who played at U of Miami.
University of Miami, troublemakers. All right, that's Jeff Gordon from The Post. When can we read you? When can we see you?
Had a couple of posts already up today. I'm heading out to Rams Park, looking over the boys stretching. That's always exciting, and we'll have more on them.
All right, the latest. Are you going to tweet out a couple of pictures of those guys tweeting?
It's not very exciting. Organized team activities, not so exciting.
What's your Twitter handle?
Gordo's Zone.
At Gordo's Zone. Jeff Gordon, thanks for coming in.
All right.
Every Thursday here on the Big 550 KTRS.